Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the HR and Payroll 2.0 podcast. I'm Pete Tiliakis, and as always, I'm joined by the legendary Julie Fernandez. Welcome, Julie.
Thanks, Pete. I'm excited to introduce our next guest, who is going to be part of our Gen Z series, Luke Powers. Welcome, Luke.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome, Luke. Exciting to have you, man. All right, Julie, let's do this.
Yeah, well, let's dive right in, Luke. I'm curious in our Gen Z series. I know Pete has a number of Gen Zs. I have some as well. I think you have even some siblings. You're probably watching their stories unfold around your own. You have one or two. Where do you fit with them?
Yeah, I'm the middle child between two people, or I guess two siblings who have now either entered the workforce or entered the college life. So definitely it's cool seeing their experiences unfold as I kind of go through mine.
Yeah, even cooler as a parent, I'll tell you, because we look at you, all of you guys, and go, "Hey, that's interesting."
Now we need to make this a middle child episode. Let's get all psychological here. Oh man,
there you go,
Julie. I bet we could. This would be great because I have a middle child. I'm sure you have a middle child. We could. We could opine on all that, but anyway.
We could for sure. Let me tell our listeners why I was so excited, Luke, for us to have a conversation with you. 2 points, 2 things that I know we'll explore as we go on. One of them being your chosen field of interest, which is data and analytics. So I know we're going to get into that. And the other of them being, just the navigation of college through internships, through, job offers, maybe rescinded job offers, new job offers. That whole process is something that we just love talking to Gen Zs about. So you ready? Let's let the fun begin.
Let's dive right in. Let's do it.
All right, great. Well, listen, where did you go as you finished up your high school and you started thinking about navigating college, and how and when did you know where you wanted to go and that you had an interest in data?
Yeah, I think interest in data kind of came a bit later in college, but I can talk to, I mean, I was kind of in high school during that COVID time. So dealing with the difficulties of that, but I did the last 2 years of high school in a dual enrollment program. So majority of that time was spent in a college setting. So it really prepared me for college life. I went to Northeastern University in Boston, and from high school, I was able to transfer 45 credits from there. So it really cut down the time that I was planning on being at Northeastern, and which is great. I was honestly surprised they took those community college credits, and it worked out great in my favor. Really just nailing out some of the base classes. But I entered as a finance major, really just trying to understand what I could do with that. I know that's a pretty broad field. Business in general is very broad, which, as we'll talk to later, might be part of the difficulties in that kind of job market. But quickly via some electives, I was realizing that I really liked the analytics side of business, doing the data analytics, but still focusing on the context of business problems and creating business solutions. And Northeastern at that time had recently had a business analytics concentration program enter up. So I joined that. I was also able to take my finance credits and apply them towards a fintech concentration. So I was a dual concentrate in that sense. And fintech was in the same sense, the data analytics with more of a financial kind of focus. So it was great. I mean, I really felt like I was able to kind of scratch the surface of data, but there was still a feeling in me that I wanted a bit more, which we'll get to.
So they actually called out fintech. I mean, that was a thing. That was a concentration as you were, some colleges are evolving with the times and others are still like finance and, accounting.
Northeastern is pretty progressive in that sense, I would say. And probably a large part because of the co-op program, which I can kind of speak to is really prepared me for applications as we're talking about the job market. I only did one co-op because I was there for 3 years, but some students do 2, 3, 4, 6-month periods where they're not doing any classes, just working. The application process is the same as the national job market. And so I think that really prepares students. And I think the school understands that and is progressive in their offerings because it's going to make us better candidates for those positions within real companies.
You know what's interesting, Julie? I met a young man in Switzerland on a train, and he was the exact same case. He had gone in for, I think, economics maybe or finance. I'm fascinated by this because my son is going down a similar path where he's edging away from finance and going towards considering data science and that sort of thing. And I met this young man, and he had the exact similar story of, I went for finance or economics, and I got really into the tech. And now he was I think this young man was actually graduating that year or had already just graduated, and he was looking to be a founder. He was already like, I'm going to Silicon Valley. I got this idea. And he was really hyped up about it. So that's really cool that some of the sort of like stodgy accounting, finance, whatever, is directing people into maybe more innovative areas, in that way. So I love that. Can I just ask one question? I want to ask you about just kind of you pivoting, right? I mean, like right now, there's a lot in the media. I know I have conversations with my kids. I got some in college, some that aren't, some that are going back, some that's finished. And so they're all kind of very angsty about like, I feel like my kids all have this like clock on them, right? Like, and maybe I put pressure on them, I'm sure, as a father, but like, is it the way the media is portraying it that like you feeling kind of hopeless and the clock is ticking and you're not going to walk into sort of your parents' workforce? I just love to kind of understand that pulse of it.
Yeah, I think that clock that you're talking about is definitely present within our generation, that kind of pressure, especially at these universities that are very job focused. A lot of students in these co-ops are getting return offers, which increases the pressure on those that aren't. Some co-ops are built to be a co-op role. It's a very specific, every year a new person comes in, it's like an intern type role. Some transition into full time. And so at Northeastern, there were students who were already like boasting their return offers post graduation, and that just like increases even more kind of the pressure. And I think in general, there's like a desire to not be unemployed beyond graduation. And a lot of colleges, how they rank and like their national rankings are based on like 95% employed within 6 months or whatever. And then you
Yeah.
get there and we're at 80, and why are we less? And every year it's probably going to be a little less. And as these classes grow and the job market tightens. And so I definitely think that kind of pressure from like a faux clock in that sense definitely exists. Yeah.
Julie, think about this. Like, I wonder how many jobs, like imagine if you're a freshman right now, right? The pace of things now, by the time you're a senior and you're going to get a job, some of those jobs might not be there anymore.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, but that wasn't the case like back when we were in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The pace wasn't that, right? I mean, that was decades before that would be gone. Now it's a reality. It seems like very scary.
Yeah, that's why I love how Luke described it as, like a program or a subset within the business or even the finance. Because how else are colleges going to keep up with that stuff, right? Like fintech, that's brand new. I bet they didn't wag a payroll one in front of your eyes, though, right, Luke? Like Pete and I are hell bent to try to make this happen.
They're doing it in Australia. Shout out to Kieran and the team. And I got an update coming, and at least the UK stepping in that way. But you're right, we need more of that, right? Totally, we've talked about that one.
I think they had one elective at Northeastern that was HR payroll related, because I did some internship time with Julie at Heron Palmer, and that was something I was exploring to make myself a little more aware of the business. But no concentrations.
Few people start out wanting to do that, right? They don't even know it's an option. A lot of folks, as we've learned here.
I will say that the technical side of HR has definitely been something that I've seen within people analytics and HR analytics. Thinking about leaning out your workforce and using data to do that, and compensation and these other kind of hot topics is definitely an application of data analytics that I've seen. So maybe not directly the knowledge and the some of the other like managerial sides of HR payroll, but definitely on the data side, I have seen those kind of courses pop up.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great. It's been a while, so I know at Wharton School had people analytics as a kind of a course that I did a while back, and so I'm glad to hear it still exists. It's still around, because oh boy, do we need it, right?
Yeah,
in the worst, right. So Luke, that probably gets us right to the idea of co-op was an integral part of your university experience, right? So how did that work? How did it's just embedded and you had to find something? Like, talk a little bit about, I don't know if it's co-op internship or exactly how you framed it, but how did the school enable that, and how did you kind of navigate that whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, Northeastern's program for co-op, not to shout them out too hard, but it really is like the best in the country for that. That's why a lot of students decide to go there. And it's really structured. So the semester before you apply, you're having like you have a mentor, and you're doing resume reviews and like mock interviews and mock applications. And then when you get there to the application time, it's its own portal of jobs. So it's not skimming through LinkedIn to find jobs that would fit. It's like directed co-ops that are designed for Northeastern students. So in my case, it worked out really well. And I mean, I had a great success, I will say, with like my co-op search. I had 6 or 7 offers, but I knew I was only going to be doing one co-op at Northeastern, so I wanted it to be something that was really kind of more related to what I wanted to do next. And so I had a couple that were maybe the quality of a first co-op for someone doing 2, but I wanted that second co-op quality. And so I ended up finding it towards the end. I got a role as a data analyst at a cybersecurity company called Mimecast, which is outside of
Mhm.
Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so I that was a really great experience. And I think the kind of structure and the way they taught applying for and dealing with offers and negotiating and these kind of things are really valuable skills that go beyond the 6-month internship. It's an internship for 6 months, no classes. But it really the program, like the co-op itself, gives you the experience of working, and then you get to go back to classes, and it's like the shock of having to wake up at 8 a.m. to go to class again, and then for a lot of students it's this back and forth every other semester, but yeah, it definitely prepared me a lot for the job market and helped me kind of navigate going into my master's, which we'll talk about.
Does it prepare you for the nonsense of being ghosted and like people wanting you to do projects to get a job, like all the chaotic, stupid things people do, make people hoops people jump through to get a job? Did it prepare you for all that?
Definitely, yeah. There were some 5, 6 round interview processes
Yeah.
that there to test your will, test your patience. I think more than anything, the soft skills of dealing with the nonsense is. I don't see. I don't know. By the 4th conversation with some of the same people, I don't know what more they could need from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I definitely think, in general, the kind of interview process across the market could be a lot better.
Yeah.
But
Oh
yeah, as
yeah.
a student, yeah, there was like some like understanding that we're students, and maybe they didn't give us as much BS, but there definitely was still
Yeah.
some of that
Yeah.
existing.
Applying and never hearing anything or rejected. Yeah. A lot of rejection, I think, when you're first looking for a job.
With 7 offers, I had like 95 rejections. So it was like you apply to a lot, and it's within
Yeah.
like a 1 or 2 month period. Every time
Yeah.
you hear your Outlook ding, you think it's an offer, and then it's a rejection. So
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Well,
Nothing prepares you for that. Nothing prepares you for that.
yeah.
how about, like how much did you and your friends or others, because it sounds like that's just ingrained in your university experience at Northeastern, right? So was there a lot of comparison to like, horror stories and people that were like, this whole thing is just useless versus those that had a good experience? Like anything fun or observations to share there about maybe what it did for you or what sorts of things you heard?
I think it was definitely a super competitive process. I mean, we're all peers and we all want each other to have good careers, but a lot of times the other people applying for the same position, you know them, versus a regular job market, it's who knows who gets that role. But here it's like I'm in class with the person who got that role, and that makes you upset and also makes you want to be more competitive. I think also there was like a lot of companies that participate in that co-op are known, and there's known kind of qualities, and people know what you're getting paid, and these kind of things come up, and so you can kind of judge other people's kind of co-ops that they're getting based
Yeah.
on kind of this general knowledge. um I won't do any call outs, but yeah.
No, for sure, for sure. All right, and then so then you go back into the student environment and kind of finish up and refine. Did your co-op experiences influence or change in any way, or just reinforce where you were headed and what you wanted to do?
Yeah, no, I think it definitely helped me understand that building a bigger background in data analytics would be something that was interesting. I mean, at that point, the knowledge that they were expecting me to have was on par with what I had done as far as coursework up to that point. But I knew that in talking to other people at the company with more experience, and which I think is the biggest part of the co-op experience, is networking. With
Right.
networking with others, I really was able to kind of see that this is a career that I really see myself in, and really how can I get myself to that point and put myself in their shoes. And so yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that part of the co-op process really helped to push me. Also, I was up into the co-op and then post co-op that for that next 2 semesters I had, or next 1 semester rather, I was doing that internship with Heron Palmer. So I except for my first semester of freshman year, I was working alongside school at all times. And so there was always this kind of desire to gain experience, but also like with the I guess, the thought of graduating. So
Yeah.
I was always
Yeah.
thinking of the next thing.
It's like you're
Sure.
straddling the zones, I guess, until you're able to, feel confident to step out into the other one, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of nice rather than being sort of thrown out there.
So what informed, like one big decision when you finish is, do I get in then and just start working for a while? Or at what point in time did you know, like, I'm going to do real world for a while? I'm going to do a master's for a while. How much space should I put in between there? How'd you deal with that?
Yeah, I think a couple months into my into that co-op and seeing those people in those business intelligence and data analytics roles in the company that were higher up and seeing their paths and their, I guess, the tool sets that they had, I felt like the one semester I had left at Northeastern might not get me there fully. The concentration kind of structure within business gives you a few classes to really, concentrate, but it's not a data science degree. So at that point, I was feeling in hindsight like I wish I'd done data science, because I think the coursework from day one of being really data heavy is so valuable. And for me, it was a lot of data with business kind of context, which is still very valuable, but less technical. And so I knew that I wanted a bit more time. I think additionally, on top of that, it was just on the time component. I was 20 when I graduated from Northeastern. And so I felt like a master's would have given me a little more time to mature and kind of further understand what I want to do. Because I really, if I had decided to graduate without and not go into the master's, I don't know what I would have applied for or what kind of job I wanted to do. I honestly, I mean, obviously it didn't happen, so I can't think too hard on it. But I could still be unemployed to this day. I don't know. So
just to recap, you have a a bachelor's degree in finance.
yeah, so it's a bachelor's in business administration, and then
Okay.
it's fintech and business analytics. So my master's was very, very overlap for sure. But
Yeah. So your master's is data analytics then, or data
it's
science?
business analytics as well.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
yes.
Wow. I mean, I think those
Yeah.
are great especially for the future.
Yeah, no,
Very good.
100%. And that was kind of always in the forefront of my mind, was data with business and big data, and these kind of buzzword terms, AI, et cetera, are things that come up, and they were going to continue to come up as I kind of go into the workforce. And so
Yeah.
kind of future proofing and preparing my resume for those times. And so, yeah, when I decided that I wanted to do a bit more school, um, my parents were telling me, they were like, hey, we support if you want to, add a double major in data science and stay at Northeastern for another 2 years, that's fine. I mean, most of my friends are still there. So,
Okay.
so it would have been fine. And, but I was like, I'd done all this work to kind of graduate early, and I always had this thought, and I thought it'd be cool to, masters at 21, which is really, it's just buzzy, but
Yeah.
but it
fun.
did. I mean, I identified Michigan's business analytics program as something that I was interested in. Additionally, like, I've never had that state school experience, and so in addition to the great academics at Ross, it was also like I get to go to Michigan for a year, which was a really fun experience. And so yeah, I decided that was kind of my top program. I applied, I got in first round, and yeah, it worked out really well. And I definitely think at that point I established like business analytics is the field that I want to be in.
Yeah.
And that's where I am now, and it's great.
That's awesome. How about, so now you've gone through, and gone through the education bit and refined, and you know where you want to be, and now the part where you're going to, like, I finished, yay, I got to get out there and figure out where
Yeah.
my next step is. Is it a tough market out there? And, you'd had that whole rejection and, like candidacy and rejection. Who knows if people are reading stuff? Talk a little bit about, networking or how you get your resume, your applications out there, and whether it is really as tough a market as they say.
I do definitely think that the current market is tough, and I think the kind of stats on that, would the amount of open jobs compared to the people looking for jobs, is definitely shows that. I think one of the first things that highlighted to me before I was applying to jobs during my master's program that was like dang, is that I saw something on LinkedIn about like 20% of Harvard grads are still unemployed or something like this, and it's like, if kids from Harvard are struggling to find a job, I'm done. Like, I just give up now. Like, like,
I think it's the sector that you're going in, because my wife's nieces are 2 years apart, and I think they've graduated now college 2 years since the younger one graduated, and they walked right into great jobs in risk management. I think in Miami. I know it's in Miami, right out of
Yeah.
college,
Okay.
and no problem. And I'm like, wow, that doesn't necessarily match what I hear in the news.
100%. Yeah. My girlfriend's in healthcare, and that they're always looking,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can walk right in. And in business, and this is kind of part of business and finance being so broad, is that
Yeah. Very
it's really
saturated.
hard to differentiate yourself within the market. Like, oh, I have a master's of business analytics. Oh, so do these 60 other candidates applying for the
Yeah.
job. What's the next level of granularity that's going to set you apart?
Yeah.
And it's really, I truly don't know, besides the potential AIs that are reviewing these resumes, what is the differentiating factor. And so yeah, that kind of nature definitely made it, I would say, a tough market. I did get a job in November of this past November. So I was, I guess, 5 months into my master's. I had a career fair. I met a representative for a company, and she sent me a link to apply. I applied, had a few interviews, and got the offer. It was a tech consulting role out in Denver. So I was really excited, and it was really cool. And because I had locked that down so early, I was one of the first in my program to get a job. I
Wow.
really didn't apply to too many other jobs up to graduation. I mean, I was always looking like, this might not be my perfect job. If I kind of made a list of like 15 companies, and if something pops up here, I'll apply and pursue it. And I had some interviews in that sense, but nothing on the offer side came up. And then
And
they
then
and then they decided to rescind my offer, I think 2 days after graduation, which on the HR side, I don't know if the timing was, let's let him have his moment and graduate and not make him depressed a week before graduation. But I would have liked as much notice as possible personally, because that kind of key time to apply to jobs for new grads is like the February to April timeframe, where your start date is May and June. And so I got cut first week of May, and I had been here sitting pretty with a job for 6 months. All my friends were still looking, and I was just sitting back doing nothing. And now I'm the one searching while they're starting their jobs that they had just got. And so it was definitely a whirlwind, but yeah, no, definitely. I think that kind of experience shows how tough the market
So
can
you
be.
had an offer, and then it gets taken away.
Yeah, it was
yes.
like the rug right
Rug
from under
right out
me.
from under you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Applications are still standing.
yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Yeah. Now you got me. Now what? Now what happens next?
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, so I saw Luke, because we're connected from having worked together in one of his co-ops, and I saw him post that,
Yeah.
and I was just imagining the mindset, having, we got our own Gen Zs in the household, right? And I thought, holy cow, P, we were heading into the payroll org conference at the time. And so I reached out to Luke and I said,
May.
hey, data scientists, like, everybody should want you. Everybody I'm going to be talking to in the
Yeah.
next week should be begging to have you start with them, right? And
Yeah.
so I reached out in hopes of being able to help with some networking. I don't know that conference really did it, but whatever. What role did networking play, Luke, compared to like spamming, candidacy and forms and applications everywhere? How do you see that balance, especially when you had the rug pulled out from under you?
Yeah, I would honestly kind of bucket my application process into kind of two sides. The first was up into getting my offer rejected, which was that kind of spam apply. I did like, my networking would have been career fairs, but it's still kind of, everyone goes to every table. So it's still kind of the same nature. Once I got that removed, I really was like, I want a job soon. I'm gonna lean into this networking thing. I have the time now. I don't have classes. I have literally nothing. I'm home, living at home with no job and no plan. And so I posted that little post on LinkedIn that you saw, and kind of just mentioned like, oh, if anyone has any networking opportunities, etc., like, please reach out. And I mean, it worked out better than I expected. Julie reached out, obviously, and a couple other people from Brown and Brown had reached out. And really, I was like, should I have been utilizing this network 6 months ago when I
Yes.
went?
Your network is your net worth, right? Is that the saying?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So I was always in this kind of stance of like, I don't want to ask. Like, you've already given me so much with the opportunity of internships, et cetera. Like, I don't want to ask for like you to reach out to someone on my behalf or whatever. But everyone was so willing to help, and was like, it felt really great to have kind of
Yeah.
like a network behind you, and that kind of really showed me. And now going into the future, I'll definitely, if plans change, et cetera, utilize the network and and I've been trying to be better at building it and stay connected with people.
That's awesome. I think it takes something personal. Obviously, getting the rug pulled out 2 days after graduation
Yeah.
is an awful way to personalize this whole thing. But I know when my
What's
kids,
that actually like? How does that go down? Do they
Yeah.
just email you like, oh, sorry, our bad, we don't need you? Or is it like you have a conversation? And is it like, do they explain anything? Like, hey, we're just not hiring. We're not able to hire right now.
Some people's experiences might be different. I was in a decent spot in the sense that I had at that point created a really good relationship with the
Mhm.
recruiter.
Yeah.
I had constantly,
Good.
I had her phone number. I just text her about like there's a possibility of the role moving to Chicago, and so I was always kind of texting her about like updates on that office opening.
Yeah.
And so I was actually in Chicago the day after graduation, kind of like celebrating like graduating, and she had texted me like, "Hey, do you have a moment to call?" And I'm like, "How does she know I'm in Chicago? Like maybe the office just open and they want to move it."
Oh, man.
And then so I answered. I was like in my head, it's either that or it's something bad because why can't you just text me? And so she called and it was just like, oh, sorry, but we're kind of pulling all of our new grad offers. I was in a program. It was a development program technically of I think cohort of like 7 or 8 students. And so our first like 4 months would be kind of jumping around different parts of the
Yeah.
business and then a full-time offer beyond that.
Cool.
And so, but yeah, so all 8 of us or whatever got our offers pulled.
Yeah.
And I think now looking at the kind of jobs that they've posted recently, it's a lot of data analytics kind of off-siting to Bangladesh and India. And so I think that's where a lot of she quoted like macroeconomic factors was the quote,
Yeah.
which is kind of a cop-out kind of bucket in my opinion. But it would have been nice to, like have maybe a little bit either more of a notice and then also maybe more of a reasoning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a shock for sure.
Yeah. Well, look, I think you probably learned a lot from it as well. It is horrible. I mean, I don't know that I've ever had that happen to me personally. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be awful. And here you are, right? Now you're on ice skates. You know what I mean? Or roller skates on ice, I guess I would say. Trying to figure out your next move. It's got to be horrible. But I hear there's a lot of this happening though, Julie. We see a lot of it in the news.
Yeah, and listen, it
Or at
happens
least
to
on
folks.
social.
It happens to folks that are long timers in a job as well. I
Yeah.
mean, this is an example of, early in your career when it's potentially like really
Yeah.
scary and devastating. It can crush a young mind's spirit. Thankfully that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, it crushes spirits no matter where you're at in your
Yeah.
job career. So that hardening, I think, will make you more prepared and has gotten you the whole lesson of, hey, networking's okay. Everybody wants to reach out and help each other and know
Yeah.
each other. And that will make you stronger for whatever happens down the road when you're 40 or 60 or, somewhere else in your career. Yeah.
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 Builds resiliency.
So you started somewhere, Luke, right? Since then, you've been picked up. You've started. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah. So I did find a job. So in June, through networking, I had like someone liked a post about a job on LinkedIn, and I read it. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I reached out to the person who said they were hiring for the position. I just said like, hey, I'm interested in this. Kind of, what are the traits you see in a successful candidate for the role? And he kind of responded back, and I said that it really sounds like me. Here's kind of my background, my experience, my interests, etc. He said, great, like apply. I'll make sure to have them flag your application. Definitely worked out great. I mean, I've had like non-respondents on LinkedIn reach out. So definitely it was really cool to get a pretty quick response. That person is now my manager. So it's definitely this kind of like how our relationship started. And he's been great on feedback the whole time. And so yeah, it was the role is strategy analytics for a company called E15 Group, which is the data analytics arm of Compass Group, which is one of the largest employers in the world. And so yeah, huge. It kind of feels like Heron Palmer within Brown and Brown as far as like small company, but like big company. And so specifically the kind of arm of E15 that I'm in is hospitality analytics for sports venues. And so
Cool.
I'm doing fan experience analytics here at the Memphis Grizzlies. So
Wow.
definitely a new location being in Memphis versus up in Boston.
Yeah.
And definitely was not an area I was targeting per se in my job search.
How
But I
cool,
was
man. That's awesome.
I was open to any location. Which
Except
is why
maybe Bangladesh when they moved all of that
Yeah.
over to.
maybe not that far, but
Great barbecue and music in Memphis, though.
Yeah, there's definitely some good culture
That's
down
cool.
here, and it's been cool. I mean, I like exploring new areas, and it's really cool kind of being in a sports arena
So does
every day.
Compass own the
E15?
Grizzly? Or
E15?
yeah,
They own E15 Group.
not the
So
team, not the team.
no, not the team. So
Yeah,
it's a consulting style relationship. They
yeah.
do own a company called Levy Restaurants, which is kind of the restaurant group that does a lot of these sports venues. And so
Okay.
they do the restaurant here. So on the fan strategy analytics, a lot of it is this food and beverage side because those are the operators I'm working with on a daily basis. And then there's also like concourse technology and these other kind of marketing and fan initiatives.
So
So
you're working on data for the guest experience then, basically.
yeah, guest experience,
Yeah.
and which within sports, like the guest experience outside of like buying a ticket is mostly food and kind of what you're
Yeah.
eating and suites and these all inclusive spaces, and so really just trying to understand the mindset of a goer to a concert or a game here, and
Hmm.
trying to think in their shoes and really design a product that fits them, which
Yeah.
I think indirectly my interest as in my job applications was product management. That's somewhere I see myself in the future. And I think here it's not directly a hardware or software product, but the core
Yeah.
and the game
Yeah.
is the product. And I'm really trying
Yeah.
to think of it in a user experience kind of mindset and really try to enhance the experience for fans here.
Yeah. That you actually mentioned something that I was curious about. What is your sort of, I don't know, I'll call it vision board sort of end game? Like what would you ideally like to end up in terms of your career?
Yeah, I mean, I always had an interest in sports, and so this is kind of itching that nerve, and I think I could definitely see myself continuing in a similar path here and growing within this company. There's a lot of growth opportunity.
Yeah.
Outside of that, product management, like I said, and kind of user experience design on software, hardware products, and using data analytics to enhance that kind of the customer's use of a product, I think is really cool. But honestly, I don't really know. Honestly, I think I've had great luck so far that the right opportunities come up when they do, and
Yeah.
I'm just gonna trust the process and let it play out. But
Yeah.
definitely, sports is a really cool field to work in.
I love that. That's great, man. That's great. And look, man, you've put a lot of work into this. It's not just luck. You've created the luck.
Yeah. Yeah, you do have to be motivated and a little bit of master of your own crazy destiny,
Yeah.
no matter
Yeah.
where it
I
goes,
think
right?
the theme here though is you've stayed very agile. Right. I mean,
Yeah,
even in this short time, I think that's very important. It's just, especially now, I mean, just in the technology age ever, I think you've got to stay super agile. And it sounds like you're already in that mindset. So you're already off on a great, and you're in a great field, right? I think for the future.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah. And
For
Compass
sure.
is very as we know, culturally very, very heavy on analytics and data science. So perfect brand to be at.
yeah,
Congrats, man.
awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been great, and
Yeah.
yeah, no complaints here. I think you talk about being agile. I think that experience that was negative and getting the offer rescinded really helped to kind of enforce myself to be more agile and understand that like
Yeah.
nothing's guaranteed. The next day is not like guaranteed at the job, etc. But so yeah, definitely great experiences.
Can I ask a Gen Z sort of mind of the Gen Z question, Julie, before
Yeah,
we
go ahead. I
go to
got
the
a
next
couple.
thing? All right.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you just like what is the barometer for your generation on AI? Are you like what's the sentiment, if you will, for how you guys see it? Because in some regards, I feel like in a lot of ways, as much as most of you, at least my kids, it seems, are very comfortable with it, very understanding of it, I think they also understand the threat of it as much as maybe our generation does, where it's significantly more impactful for some older generations, maybe, or at least perceived to be. So I was just curious what you feel like the sentiment is for AI.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always kind of viewed it as like an enhancement, not a replacement. And so that's kind of the mindset I try to keep is that if I can use it to enhance my work, that's great. If it's replaced my work, I should be worried. And there's definitely some of that worry within the job market and kind of in thinking about putting yourself in a role that can't be replaced is kind of something that I think our generation is very focused on. You know, I think trades and stuff should be like more sought after, like plumbing and
Yeah,
electric, et cetera. Those kind of fields really can't be replaced. And some base level underwriting and some basic data analytics and Excel work can be. And so as some of these roles that might be more attractive than blue collar jobs kind of on
Yeah.
paper, like they're really, those are the ones that are more likely to be replaced. And so I'm trying to, within this kind of data analytics kind of field, get myself to a point where if AI is taking over on the bottom line, I'm the one kind of directing that
Yeah.
or working with it. But I think understanding how it works and understanding how to use it properly and safely and effectively is really the kind of the emphasis. And I mean, companies are leaning into it. Most companies now are creating their own chatbot or their own kind
Yeah.
of flavor of a chat GPT for their employees to use. So it's, it's the data is kept in house, but you can still, I think for coding, it's great. And as someone who is business analytics, like I'm doing coding, but I'm not
Mhm.
like a data science, like computer science level coder. Like it really helps, like, how do I do
Yeah.
this? And it just spits and you can copy paste. And so there's definitely value there. And I think the biggest value is understanding not to over trust it,
Yeah.
knowing to check its work
Not
and
a
check its
crutch.
sources. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, yeah, I don't want to rely on it, but I want to, refer to it, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the
Yeah.
value it's given to me. And I think my generation would probably agree to some extent.
Hey, so we've had some of our Gen Z series that have really talked a lot about when you're getting into that first role. What was important or not important to them about the overall job offer? So things like the trade-offs between benefits and flex time, and 401ks, or it being important, not important, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, especially around now in the fall when it's open enrollment. Was there anything notable that you or even some of your peers had come across in the trade-offs of, just kind of the structure of a job offer and what's attractive to you or to your generation?
Yeah, I think there's a number of kind of things that I kind of look for in a job offer. I think the first and foremost is pay, which is the kind of the obvious answer, but kind of a balance between being compensated for my experience and understanding that more pay will come as I gain experience, and I'm quite young, so that one was at the forefront, but also, understanding, like, this job might not pay my dream salary, and I that's fine. I don't need
Yeah.
dream level job at 21. And so that was definitely kind of a consideration. I think having that Heron Palmer experience kind of, now I'm like over analyzing and like benefits packages, like what's the DB and the H&W and the this and that or whatever and DC or whatever. So um kind of just, that was kind of like a fun little tidbit from my experience there. And I
That's
would say like
great.
a 401k match is definitely something that I was, my parents maybe haven't done the best job, they say, as saving for retirement, and that's something they've been trying to enforce with me, is make sure I'm putting money away.
Yeah.
um and so I
I
think a
think we all would
match
say that.
on that. So definitely retirement savings. I'm fortunate that I'll be on my parents' healthcare for the next 4 years. So, so I didn't have to weigh into that too much.
How about work-life balance and time off, flex time? Like what was there?
I mean, the Denver role and a lot of other roles I've seen kind of play into this unlimited PTO, which is kind of but also kind of, I think, a buzzy kind of use, because I mean, it has to be approved, and you don't get any carryover if they lay you off. But I guess there's positive and negatives to both. I mean, I'm in a situation, I have, I think, 4 weeks, so definitely can't complain. Starting with that, my dad is like, he's been at his company for 10 years and that's what he has now, and so so yeah, definitely I think balance is huge, and there's really a culture of that here, and
Yeah.
I think working outside of a finance or accounting, like top four, those big four, I mean, those companies are going to be where you're working 50, 60,
Yeah.
70-hour weeks. That's not the case here. My longest weeks will be NBA season, when I'm here for like into
Awesome.
10
Yeah.
o'clock for games. I'm not complaining about
No
being at
way,
NBA
right?
games. Yeah, like,
You get to go to some free games, maybe? Who knows? Yeah.
yeah, I'm at every game. So I get 41. So that's like a benefit in itself, I
Yeah.
Yeah.
guess. If we're talking about this role, I get 41 home games and 15 concerts a year and stuff for
There
free.
you
And
go.
so
Yeah.
can't complain there.
No, man,
There you
that's
go.
awesome. That's awesome. It's the perks.
You're in office though, right? So you're not a virtual worker. You have an office and you're meeting colleagues and you're going into the office. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm here in the office right now. I'm probably about 20 steps from a suite that would look out to a court. And so it's,
Wow.
it's right in the stadium. So it's really cool kind of atmosphere, and I'm working with operators, and
You'll have
so
to send us a photo from your view so we can put it on social media. We'll call this the view, the view from the Gen Z or something. I don't know. We'll work something in.
yeah, I'll have to go up and get a good picture. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I
man.
am in the basement technically, but
I love it.
they're
I love it. Hey, you got an office, man. Most of us didn't have an office. I didn't have an office at your age, so hey,
I'll
you're
take it.
doing it, man. You're doing it.
All right.
How
Well, I
cool.
think I have just one more kind of line of questioning, Luke, before maybe we wrap some things up.
Hot seat.
I'm
Yeah.
curious if you've been in role long enough to have either some quips or some observations about working with other generations in the workforce. So you must have everything from the Gen Zs to the millennials to some of your own, your own generation. Like, what observations in even this short amount of time have you had about working in this multi-generational, environment, and maybe funny things or sad things, or
How
just
cool.
observations like,
Great.
oh crap.
Yeah, we'd love to know how great Gen X is while you're in
Yeah.
there. You could just rub our egos a little bit. We are badasses, though. We're a great generation.
100%. Yeah,
Just
no,
saying.
definitely have worked with a broad amount. I mean, here on site, I'm working with operators, and so I think the closest in age to me in the office is like 29. So definitely working with. I'm not gonna call you guys older folks, but
Old.
It's okay.
We're
We know.
wiser.
wiser. Yeah,
We know. Yeah.
I don't think I have any boomers, but it does help, like kind of like being this young, but in this environment that's so mature and older, kind of just forces you to kind of match and I'm a manager within the building, and but like a manager like who's younger than every person I'm not managing, but like working whatever. So it's definitely an interesting experience there. I think within the E15 kind of atmosphere and my other like peers at other arenas are all kind of similar age to me or closer, and so there's a little bit of like remotely I'm working with younger folks, and then on site I'm working with people who are a bit older, and so it's a great balance. And I guess maybe the only quip would be like if we're talking about AI, is you get different reactions to it as we're talking about um, like the
Uh,
fear of its overtaking as some alien force that some generations find it to be, and kind of we're here like using it every day. So but yeah, I really do like working kind of in atmospheres where I'm a variety of ages and experiences, because people have lived different lives and lived before certain technologies were even a thing or like used as broadly, and you get a diverse amount of perspectives, which is really great in
Yeah.
business when you're trying to solve problems.
Hey, well, how fun. I mean, thank you so much, Luke, for making the time to do this and for
Yes.
reaching out when you did, just to even engage me as a part of your network, in the oh shit moment happened really earlier in your, launch to the career world. And where can people reach you and how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mainly just LinkedIn is what I use for all my networking. I don't like any other sites too hard on the networking front. Definitely love kind of connecting with people. I haven't done the HR stuff in a minute, but I know with when I was at Aaron Palmer, so that was kind of everything, and so I do have that's where kind of the benefits of engaging in my network is that everyone knows people on the HR side of these big companies, and it's ends up working out really well in my favor as far as connecting and networking. So
We'll take you in HR any day.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we weren't connecting a few dots with Luke over the years, especially
Yeah.
had conversations with, his very large employer in some other areas. And
Yeah.
we'd love to see people that want to do what you want to do and have your skills somehow hit this like payroll, burst of co-op or something, and see if we can't start to channel some people
Right.
into profession,
Yeah.
because nobody tries to be there.
We need to bring more Lukes into HR.
I honestly just don't think people know it's an option or know it's as I didn't know until that internship experience how much went into it
Yeah. Yeah.
on the benefits and HR side. So definitely, I think as kind of people are looking for jobs and they'll kind of explore any option. I think HR should definitely be one of those options.
Yeah. It is, man. And
Excellent.
it's a lot of data now and a lot of tech. So yeah, come hang out with us. A lot of fun. It's never different. It's always a different day, right? It's never the same day.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I think we're going to wrap for now and close out this episode. Thanks, Luke. We look forward to staying in touch with you as your career evolves and we see what and where you end up going with this.
Congrats,
Awesome.
Luke. Yeah.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us. Thanks, everyone. And we'll be back.